Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the single player Let's Play series. This is my fluid grid, wrong grid. Well, I may as well show you. We've been gaining a good bit of resource so far. We have 125 buckets of pink slime currently available, and it looks like about 10 of liquid meat. Liquid meat is not something we're producing in a large amount, so, we're not producing too much of it. But I want to get started right away today. We're going to need to make 4 netherite ingots, which I think is going to wipe me out on netherite scrap for the moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn those 4 into a gear. Be sure to turn off the magnet here. And so with that, we should be able to start the arduous process of getting ourselves an infinity hammer this episode. I'm very excited to make an infinity hammer. I just want to make sure that we have enough invar. We most certainly don't. Let's get about 30 of that going, and we'll get the rest of this ready. Over here, we have already set up the exporter, and you can see I've got 3 different placards now. Placards are just basically fancy item frames. They are actually physically blocks. That's one cool thing about them. It does mean you can't put them in corners unlike item frames, but they otherwise act almost exactly like them. And so Wither Skull here is here because the ether gas comes from a wither. And then plastic here because latex turns into plastic. And then pink slime here because pink slime ball is a pink slime product, essentially. So we should be good to start making some of these components. We're going to need, looks like 2 blocks of invar there. We're going to need a diamond gear, or was that 2? It may have been 2. That was 2, it looks like. And we are going to need a couple of other components. I don't believe the placement matters in this case. In fact, I don't think it matters in any case. But I am going to go ahead and follow along one-to-one as much as I can, just because. We're going to grab a stick. And, a treated stick. Get ourselves a steel sword. And we're going to grab those 2 diamond gears that are done. We'll go ahead and put everything together here. And that is going to get us crafting a very big item. And this is something that I've been waiting for a long time. You may have noticed by now that this sword is not very interesting. This netherite sword is pretty dang boring. And that's what we're fixing now. We're finally going through and making ourselves a better sword. A very significantly improved sword compared to what we had before. We're going to have to re-enchant it. That's going to stink a little bit, but we're going to make that better this episode as well. This is the infinity hammer. So let's go ahead and claim our reward for that because we earned it. Definitely took a couple of 20, 30, 40 episodes to get here. But this is one of my favorite weapons in Minecraft. And you'll see that as soon as I put it in my hotbar, and hang on. What's going on with my charging? My charging's supposed to charge with the charging. Why are you not? Why are you being stinky? Let's figure that out. Oh, right, I forget. I can just go through here now. And in fact, we should have you right there. Wireless charging. Enable wireless was turned off for some reason. That's not ideal. Go and put that back. And now we'll see that this is going to start charging. And weirdly enough, it takes a lot of energy to charge. You may be looking at that and saying, wow, 400,000 or 4 million RF. That's a lot of RF, right? Wrong. It will keep increasing. It will keep increasing all the way to the highest tier, which is, in fact, I believe the highest tier for the hammer is in the 21 billion. It's 2 to the 64th power. It's a 64-bit integer. But you can see that already off the bat we're at 13 attack damage, and we haven't even gotten any enchantment on there, and that's already exceeding our old sword. But as this guy charges in my inventory, and if I ever want it to stop charging, I just click this. As it charges, we're going to get AoE, and we're going to get beheading levels that we don't currently have yet. And so this guy over here, way easier to kill now, right? And it is a massive sword, but it actually swings faster than a normal sword. So this has a 1.6 attack speed. This has a 2 attack speed. So it's very fast. And it has an AoE, as you saw. It does a 3x3 AoE. And as we reach the uncommon tier, you'll see we're now at 15 damage because we got even more. We are causing problems. We've got to fix that. So one thing that can happen is you can, in fact, strain your network. And so that's what's happening over here, is we have strained our network. We have completely... we're starting to cause some problems. So what we're going to do is see if we can charge this in here. I was hoping we could. But yeah, this guy over here, completely empty. I wonder what these slots are for, if not for charging. Oh, or is it because charging is disabled? There we go. So this will be a little faster, and this is going to be draining from all of our energy sources right now, and eventually this will, in fact, go away. But we are inputting and outputting 12 million FE through this guy. And so right now, for some reason, well, because it's all going to this guy, our entire network is down, which is not ideal. What we're going to probably do is set up a secondary network, right? So this one is not ideal. We're going to turn that off, and you'll see that this is going to drop down to a sane amount, and we can start to access things. But what we'll probably want to really do is grab ourselves another induction I/O port. So let's go ahead and grab another induction port. In fact, I'm just going to borrow this so that making that is a little bit faster. Even though that's probably not where it's going to go. Probably going to put it right here, in fact. Oh, shoot. I have just caused myself some issues. I did not think that through at all. It's okay, we can do this for now. There we go. So now you are back to normal. Great, great. Let's go ahead and put the flux plug here. And so now that's back to normal. That's back to normal. Looks like everything here is more or less back to normal. Good. This is what we want to see. Now, we're going to get another flux network, actually, completely an entirely new flux controller here. And we're going to need a couple of new resources for that. So let me get those together, and then I will be back. All right, so I've created a wireless charging network. This is a special network specifically for us to charge with. And if I come here and say charging enabled, now this flux plug should be in charge of the wireless charging. And that means that we can limit it. So right now it looks like there is a limitation, which is good. I think we're going to bypass the limit there. And then over here... Wait a minute, why isn't this working? I have questions now. That's odd. Okay. Wireless charging is effective, is ineffective, is effective. So you are set to be effective. You are, right, you're set to not be the right thing. Let's make sure that this is set in the right mode. And we may have to, since I put this in an acoustic, or in a morphing tool, we may have to do item mode switch hotkey, which is the N key, and then we can just do the, I thought wrench was all I needed to do. Is it not? There we go. So now that's going to be outputting 10,000 RF a tick straight to here. And that won't be draining from you. So you're still going to be able to keep everything running as much as possible. And of course, this does mean that for now, our biodiesel generator is probably going to kick in. That is very likely. Yep, there it goes, right away. No waiting whatsoever. But that's okay, because we're not realistically going to leave this running for very long. I'm actually waiting for the very next tier here, which is the 80,000 RF tier, which is not too far off from here now. I believe we can also just as easily do this. I don't think that there's really all that much of a difference. Our throughput is still limited to some degree, so I don't know that there's really all that much that we can do about it. You know, like I think it is what it is. And so this will be flux input. We'll put that there. And again, if we run out of energy or if we run out of biodiesel for some reason, which I think we good. I think we're perfectly fine. But if there become any issues, then we can resolve them. But currently, I think we're doing quite excellently. Our entire system is built for stuff like this. And I know that a couple of people, when they were playing this pack, were running into issues with not having enough flux storage, not having enough stuff to do with their flux. And you can see, by the way, we are draining now. We are now only being able to produce a certain amount and not keeping up, which this is going to be a problem. But I'd say for now we're doing decently okay. But you can see our total of 12,000 output going right into here, and our total of 6,000, 2,000 from this, and 4,000 from our diesel generator upstairs going in. And so that's so far pretty decently good. Of course, you guys know I'm probably going to replace that diesel generator sooner than later. But how about we give our system a break for now? We go ahead and bump the area up, and I want to show you what will happen. I'm also going to come here to the Evoker Fang setting. And we're going to turn this sound. We're going to turn that sound down some because it's going to be loud. But we now get our own Evoker Fangs that we can summon at any point to help us take out entities and mobs. So this is a very cool setup. As you can see, this is just going to keep on running. If the diesel generator can run well enough for us, then I may see about making another one. I'm really curious if we could support 2. I'd really like it if we could. But I'm quite afraid that we might not. I don't know. How are we doing here? I'm doing beautifully here. Great. And how are we doing over here? Oh, you are not even busting a sweat. What the heck? Yeah, no, I think we can absolutely support a second biodiesel generator. We may actually need to expand our biodiesel production. But that's okay. The only thing that I wish is that you could make a template out of a room and have multiples of the same thing. That would be really nice, because I don't want to make this again, necessarily. But, you know, it is what it is. If we have to, we have to. That attachment might actually be a bottleneck here. No, it's actually, it's this guy. It's just our refinery. So we would just need a second refinery. Which, honestly, we could just isolate the 2 fluids that we're producing here and then put the refinery in the overworld. That would be a perfectly viable option as well. Now that I think about it. Right, I forgot that I gave myself a little bit of a throughway here. Yeah, we're actually doing okay. So, cool. Well, that's good. That's good. Anyways, I'm going to let everything refill. And while it does, we are going to work on another device. So our next device, the next thing that I want to get done, is another machine, a new machine, I should say. And so let's go ahead and put you away. Thank you, thank you. And we want to get our enchantments off of this. And so in order to do that, we are going to want an enchantment extractor. And so the enchantment extractor is a pretty straightforward device to craft. You'll see that it's not too terribly complicated. We have most of these things, right? But the only thing that we don't have, that we don't know how to craft, is one of those weird-looking machine frames. And so, in order to make one of those, we're going to need to come over here to our machine setup over here and get started. You'll see that this is a pretty familiar set of materials, but this one is the one that we need to get to first. So we're going to need to teach our system how to auto-craft nether bricks, because we're going to be using that recipe quite a bit. So let's go and do nether brick. You know how to craft that, and you know how to craft that. And now we'll go and put those in their corresponding devices. Where is the furnace? Hello? Redstone furnace. There it is. And then we'll just craft these with the other vanilla materials. And just like that, we should be pretty well off on our way to get more nether bricks. And that's 2 of those. And the rest of our materials are going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to need a frame, just one of the pity machine frames. We're going to need latex, which we've already got. We've already got the rest of these components. You can see that that all just came in all at once. I'm going to go and get another gold gear because I know we're going to need it. And I also know how to spell, I promise. And so let's get started with the next tier of machine frame just by tossing all this stuff in. And then the tier following that is going to be one of the many purposes of the pink slime. So like I said, pink slime, incredibly useful. That's why we got everything set up last episode to support an entire pink slime-based liquid crafting infrastructure, because that is going to become very, very, very important and very helpful. Let's go ahead and request auto crafting of that diamond gear. It was not gold. I messed up. That's okay. We will use these. That is for sure. And if I just do this, like I said, it's going to give me everything we need. And that unobtainium that we started automating a couple episodes back, or pseudo-automating, is now coming in handy. So we can toss all these things together, the unobtainium, the gold ingots, the plastic sheet, the diamond gear, and our simple machine frame, and that's going to get us an advanced machine frame. So the advanced machine frame is what's keeping us behind on a lot of technologies that we should be able to automate a lot more easily now. And the quest book here is going to tell us exactly that. It's going to say, hey, you should probably make some ore lasers, and you should maybe do some enchantment manipulation. Ore lasers will more than likely be for the next episode, but we might start on that this episode. But we are most certainly going to be getting into enchantment, the enchantment devices right this moment. So let's go ahead and get ourselves that enchantment extractor. You can see that is a very simple recipe once we have all these other preceding components made up. Like I said, so far the biggest thing has been the... what are the pipes? Here we go. So far the hardest thing has just been getting here to this point where all these things are processed. But the goal of this pack was just for us to take our time and automate a lot of these processes as we go. I'm a little concerned that the door is open. I'm wondering if that's a result of our energy shenanigans. I think it was. I think our system down there just died. It ran out of RF, which, you know, that happens. Anyways, the enchantment extractor. Let's get to that. Let's explain why that's helpful, and let's get more experience. What we're going to need are some books, and you can see we already have a lot of enchanted books, which are great, but if we put our enchanted books in here, and we put anything that we want to unenchant in here, you'll see that it's going to start stripping those enchantments off of there. And we're not going to lose any of the enchantments, and we're not going to lose any of the tools that were used in the process. And now I can recycle this in the induction smelter for 6 netherite nuggets. Not that that's really all that helpful, but it's there. It's an option. So, you're free to recycle a handful of the different netherite materials and tools to get back to your netherite nugget if that is what you so desire. But this got us back a bunch of these things. And so you'll notice if you look through my refined storage grid, I've been planning for this device for months now because I have been saving a lot of the nicer tools that we have with mending, efficiency, mending. I save these, and I save these because I don't really like having to go and randomly enchant on a hope and a prayer and hope that it works out. And I certainly much prefer knowing that whatever I'm going to get out of this is exactly in this list of things. So for me personally, I think that this has been a preferred setup. I think it is a much better way of getting things off of these tools that I've been saving all this time. And that's why I've been saving them all this time. Except for this golden knife. I'm not sure why I kept that golden knife. It is not particularly helpful. But yeah, even sometimes the ammo comes enchanted and I don't know why. But yeah, so far that's kind of like the biggest motivation for keeping a lot of this stuff around has been just to make sure that, in fact, everything can be disenchanted at some point for their delightful books. So let me go ahead and follow through with that process, and I will be back when I have an inventory full of books and I have everything that I want on this hammer ready to go. All right, everyone, so I have all of my enchantments extracted, and I even upgraded my Sharpness 4 book to a Sharpness 5 book. So let's go ahead and get all of these applied really quickly. And so that's going to bring us up to 18 attack damage and looting 3. Let's actually see. Unbreaking, which does apply here, is going to be another 6 levels. So unbreaking just reduces how frequently we go through RF or flux whenever we use this tool. And then 13 levels for looting 3, which is just the standard looting. And there we go. That is now a very, very good infinity hammer. Now, you may have noticed that I let it charge all the way up to almost 80,000, or 80 million, flux to see what the next tier is. So let's go ahead and enable charging again so you can see that difference is another 4 attack damage available to us. Now, that 480 million RF tier is the one that I'm going for because at that point we start off with a base durability or base damage of, I believe, 47. Hit, which is outstanding, but that's going to take a really long time to get there. So why don't we make something happen with that? You can see I've expanded this area out a little bit by 1 block on each side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can support 3 diesel generators. So I'm going to build 2 more of these, and I'm going to take this one down and build it long ways as well. And they're all going to be linked up to the same power, little power checker right there. And we'll see if this is going to work. So I'm going to really quickly build these up because you've already seen me build up these engines. And if that does in fact work and things do look like they're going good, then great. And if not, then we may have to revise our biofuel or our biodiesel production system just a little bit. Okay, pardon the network lagginess today. I am certainly currently backing up my entire data NAS setup and at the home network. So currently all of the network transactions, which this is hosted on a local dedicated server of mine. So everything going on here in this world is a little bit laggy. You'll see it takes just a second to open up things like backpacks and such. But I have gone ahead and changed things up a little bit. There's no longer interior access. There's also no longer any live wires. And if we just hop up here, I know I can. Come on. Oh, come on. Right there. Oh, I keep hitting the lamppost. Got it. Got it. Well, we can do this instead. You'll see that I've just set up 3 of these all together. This one is the only one that's facing opposite. All of them are facing that way except for that one because I didn't have enough room inside to put another redstone transceiver, so I just went ahead and flipped just the one. Fortunately, these are otherwise really symmetrical builds, so it made it really easy. And I've got everything more or less hooked up downstairs. So if we wanted to go take a look at that, we'll just hit up this trapdoor right here. And then I made a little door here, a little entryway. And yeah, so right now we've just got this advanced energy pipeline running over to here. I want to say that the advanced tier does, 16,000. That's about the top of its limit, unfortunately. So we're getting really close to running into problems, but for now we are definitely okay. But I'd really like to see, surely out of curiosity, what happens if I turn this entirely off and then we start to drain over here. Over time, right? So like eventually this will drain. Right now it's draining from these, I bet. Yeah. So what happens if I turn, stop. What happens if I turn you to 1, by the way? We did unlock a beheading level, which does exactly what it sounds like. What happens if we turn you on to charge? So you're going to start to drain at 12K, and we should see you starting to drain even more rapidly. You're just about empty. And now we're probably going through cable buffers and through this guy, looks like, as well. Forgot to increase the input on that one. And we can increase the input on that one as well. Actually, I don't know why those weren't already set to their max. And then, at that point, anytime now, we should start going over to here. And then as soon as this needs to kick on, it should. And now we are actually making more than 12K. But the real question is, are we going to keep up? This feels like a elder sign question of how many of these can we support all at once, because I actually don't know off the top of my head how many one fluid mixer will, or not fluid mixer, the refinery. There we go. How much the refinery can output for. But I just want to see if it can keep running on those 3. And if it can, that will be excellent. And you can see our grid is still online because of all the infrastructure we've set up. We're spending 12,000 RF per tick, and we're still making more than that, which makes sense. We're probably producing, like, each one of these produce 4,096. So I would have to imagine that what is happening is, like, of the let me think, there's almost 12,300 that we're producing, so probably about 300 RF per tick is what's left over, really. It would have to be my guess, to be real. But it does definitely seem to be working. As outstanding as that is, I think we are good to just let this run. And so, yeah, we could probably keep our alternators running, but I'm wondering if it's not about time that we retire that system as well and start moving on to newer and better tech like the one we already have set up. Let me know what you think in the comments. For now, I'm going to leave that set up. So let's go ahead and fix that up by doing input in the front and output in the back, and that's going to help you out a little bit as well. Now we're going to be producing in excess, and we'll leave those running in case we do need more. But you're seeing already how quickly this is producing, so hopefully that goes well. Where are we getting all this power from? Oh, from this cell back here, right? And so this will just help, really. It's just going to reduce some of the strain on our. The alternators are just going to reduce some of the strain on our motors up here. But at this point, I'm kind of starting to think that we might just want to move to these, not motors, these diesel generators. I'm thinking it's getting pretty close to that point. But for now, we're already at a 5x5 with a 22 attack damage. And that, to me, is outstanding. So I think I'm going to call it here. I may just leave my sword here trying to recharge for a little bit between episodes. And I do hope that you enjoyed this one, because I had a lot of fun making this one. Oh, right. I've got our 2 compact machines, which don't actually technically have to be placed in the world. But I am going to place them down in the wall anyway, because I want to. And at this point, I think we're just kind of cruising right along. So yeah, let me know what you think about the alternators. Keep in mind that if we say yes, let's remove the alternators, that means that this guy over here, which I believe is the cause of a good bit of our lag right now, can also go away. And we'll still leave all the charcoal stuff running, because we're going to need the charcoal to keep the main power plant running. But that means that we won't really have any major use for this. But anywhere we need a lot of a lot of stress units, we can come pick it up off of there. So that's always an option. There's also the option, actually a realistic option, of moving that to its own dimension. We could just take everything out, put it in its own pocket dimension, or compact storage, compact machine. Put everything from here and all the alternators in a compact machine, and just have flux networks and chunk loaders do all the work. So that might also be an idea, now that I think of it. If you think that's what I should do, also let me know. I'm not kind of at a loss here. There's a lot of things that I could do next, and I'm not really sure which one's the best move. What is, however, going really well is we are doing a lot of throughput, and we're also just fine on our biodiesel. So that's an outstanding thing to see. We'll go check in on it real quick, and then I guess we'll call it an episode, because we've gotten so much done today. Let me think. I should probably label these. So this one does the actual fluid production. I mean, it looks like everything's running okay so far on this side. How are we doing here? You're still backstuffed. So this is not going to be our bottleneck. This is running very quickly. So now the only other bottleneck I can think of would be this guy. Nope, we're not even breaking a sweat. We're slowly going through these, but it really is a slow process. Wow. Awesome. Okay, well, that's what I wanted to see. We are so backstuffed that I don't think we're going to ever run into any issues. Cool. Well, all right, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.